Hello and welcome to Donna's Kitchen. Here today we are gonna make this vegetable herb chicken. And we are actually gonna use a Dutch oven. So we'll be roasting the chicken in here and with a bunch of vegetables and herbs and stuff, okay? So first I wanna go ahead and cut up my vegetables before we do our seasoning of the chicken. So I like to do the vegetables a little bit on the chunkier side, but not too big, of course. So we'll just chop them all up. So we have some carrots, celery. Sometimes I don't like to do a lot of celery, so I will do sweet potato instead. And I would make the sweet potato a little bit chunky because we're gonna roast the chicken in the Dutch oven covered. Okay, so I'm gonna put them in here. And I'm also gonna season the vegetables before I put the chicken in there. So we're just gonna go ahead and cut these up. Because you don't want, when you're eating the vegetables, you have to be like cutting the vegetables up, so that's why I like to do chunky, but more like bite-sized pieces. So we have carrots, we have some onions, and I love to cook with lots of onions and garlic, lots of it. Can't be too much. So our house always smells so good when we're cooking. So we have here the carrots and the celery. Now I'm gonna put the onions. A lot of people think that when you are roasting or when they hear the words Dutch oven, it's all about stewing and all that, but not necessarily. You can bake even a bread. You can bake a bread in your Dutch oven. But here today I'm going to show you, if you didn't know, that you can actually, and the onions I'm going to do on the bigger side. You can see here. Let's just put that over here. So people always ask if I love cooking. I enjoy it. I love it. I'll cook for 6 hours, especially if we have people coming over. So in here you can see we have all the vegetables. So I'm gonna put some garlic. Now, I like to use a lot of garlic, but I don't like to chew on the garlic, so I like to crush it. So when I put it in soups or anything, instead of chopping the garlic, I like to just use the garlic press. That will take care of that. And then we'll clean up our trash afterwards. Okay, so here I'm just gonna crush these. I'm gonna use 2 cloves. A lot of times people always ask why, like, can you give me the recipe for something? I don't know. I don't know how to do that. How do I do that? Because a lot of times I make I make it as I go. So it's just random spices and stuff. So I don't know. I don't measure. I don't know how much of anything sometimes when I cook. When I bake, a lot of times, of course, you have to make sure you measure, especially baking powder and baking soda and stuff like that, because you don't want your baking product to look a little bit crazy or too crazy, so to speak. All right, so here I have my carrots, my onions, and garlic and thyme. And then I'm gonna put a little bit of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, of course, in here. And here are my spices. So here I have garlic and herb spices, garlic powder, I have chili powder, cumin, and some Italian season. So I'm gonna just mix those all together. You can just use your finger. Who cares? Doesn't matter. So a lot of people like to watch me when I'm making stuff for like when we have visitors or people coming over. They're like, what did you put in that? What did you put? I don't know. I just put things in there and it tastes good. I'm not bragging, but it's like how I was raised, I just watch my family when they're cooking. They always just sprinkle things in there. They don't measure anything. Even salt is like, how do you know the rice and peas have enough salt in it? So here we have some olive oil and all our veggies before we go ahead and put in our roasted chicken. So I'm going to let that stay there for a second. I'm gonna peel these. Now, why am I using a knife to peel my potatoes? Don't ask me. I don't like to use potato peelers, especially for the small ones. So I feel like I always cut my fingers. So I'm gonna peel these quickly. So just have a couple, whoopsie, flying potatoes. So I'm gonna peel these, and I'm not gonna do too many of them, maybe about 6 or 7, and put them in the with the vegetables before we go ahead. And with this dish, you don't have to have another side of vegetable. You can just have a side of rice, which is what we're gonna be doing today. This might be me butchering the potatoes, but growing up, my first meal that I ever made was when I was in 5th grade. So I was 10 at the time. And I always watched my mom and my family make these really big meals on Sundays. So that's like our real family meal together is on Sundays after church. And so one Sunday, church took so long and I rushed home and I figured, what the heck? Why don't I try to make dinner for everyone? Now, that was so big of me to think like that or to even attempt to do that, but it went really, really well. They were so impressed. So I made the rice and beans. I didn't make the chicken, but I made the rice and beans. Definitely tastes good. So from then on, I was like, I can do this. I can do this. So now I'm just gonna make these and like cut them in 4 because they're like on the chunkier side. Throw them in there too with the veggies. I don't like to use the big potatoes, Yukon Gold, because when you cut them, try to cut them in bite sizes. Sometimes you have some uneven pieces and they will tend to turn to mush when you try to pick them up. But these ones, for some reason, they're not like that. And remember, when we cook the chicken, it's gonna be covered in the oven. Okay. So, all right, so we have that. Let me grab a spoon quickly. So we'll just stir that up. Make sure everything is coated. Look how beautiful. It smells like heaven. All right, so that's all our veggies in there. Okay. And then, I mean, you can put more potatoes if you want, however you like it. I don't really like too much of the veggies in there, but let's just throw these out quickly. All right. So then now we have our chicken. We have our chicken that we are gonna be butterflying the chicken actually. And for that, I like to put gloves on because sometimes I don't like touching the raw meat. I don't like touching the raw meat with my bare hands. Okay. So we have thyme in there. Let's put that to the side. All right. So this is my fun part. My whole chicken here. So this chicken, I already washed it with lemon and vinegar and took out the inside. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna butterfly it. So some people like to do it breast side, to butterfly the breast side. I like to butterfly the back of the chicken. Now, don't judge me. I'm very strong with the knife. All right, so we'll cut that out. Okay, so we'll cut that out. And what I'm gonna do is, I'll just use this to scrape out the liver looking things on the inside. I don't like when I'm eating chicken and see all these things, so I like to make sure I clean it. And if I'm not roasting a whole chicken or grilling the chicken, I like to skin it. I don't like the skin at all. Even drumsticks, unless I'm doing it a certain way. But other than that, if I'm stewing any kind of meat, I like to make sure we clean it up and take all the fatty and cartilages and stuff off of that. Because who wants to eat that with all this stringy stuff all over it, right? So we'll do that. Hold on a second, I still have some more. People ask why we wash our chicken with vinegar and lime. I mean, it's the way I was raised. I don't know the reason, but it's just the way I was raised. Now I'm touching it with the chicken glove. Don't worry about it because this is not going to be going anywhere. I'm going to use up this olive oil. So yeah, the reason why I'm doing the olive oil on the chicken is because I want when I put all the seasonings on the chicken, it stays. Oopsies. Okay. So we're gonna make sure that we coat this really nicely. That I'll throw out in a second. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna season the chicken. I mean, you don't have to necessarily butterfly your chicken, but I like to butterfly it because it looks nicer in the Dutch oven or crock pot or whatever you want to cook it in. But you can't go wrong with how you make this chicken in terms of timing because it will always stay nice and juicy. You have lots of juice in the bottom. You don't necessarily have to make gravy. You can just use that juice for your sauce or gravy, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, please don't ask me for the recipe in terms of how much seasoning to put on there. As you can tell, I am really generously coating this. All right, so make sure it goes in every corners. And then I poke it, and some people just to tenderize it. But yeah, growing up in Jamaica, we cook everything on until they fall off the bones. We don't know what it means when you say, do you want a steak? And how do you want your steak to be cooked? What is that? So, because we always cook everything until they're falling off the bones. So here, when someone say, oh, I want my steak, Jamaicans will say, I want my steak well done. And Americans will look at them like, huh? What? Well done? What are you talking about? Okay, so now I am going to put the chicken. It's already nicely coated. All right, it's already nicely coated. So in the season, you're probably asking, how do I not put salt and pepper in there? But one of the spices I'm using right now has a lot of sodium. So I refrain from putting more salt if it has that much sodium in it. So now you just put it in your pot like so. And it doesn't matter. You can put it You just position it how you want it. Okay. Let's move this to the side. Okay. Let's move that to the side. Everything looks good. When you do that, you are ready for your oven. And then I put it in the oven for 350. Well, this chicken is a 4-pound chicken, right? This is a 4-pound chicken. And you put it in the oven for 4 pounds, I would say an hour and a half. I like it, again, I like everything well done. Let's put some thyme on there just for decoration, and the aroma is like unbelievable. So good, so good. All right. So look at that, how beautiful. Look how beautiful that is. So beautiful. And then you just pop it right in the oven for an hour and a half. Right on the hour, you can check it and see how it is. And when you open it, it's gonna be, you can't use your hand, obviously, because it's in the oven. So when you open it up, it's gonna have all that juice saturated in the bottom with all the vegetables, all the juice from the chicken will help cook the vegetables. So there's no room for the steam to come out. So it's gonna be amazing. And in the meantime, you can also do however you want to do your rice or any other side dish that you want to make. Here I made rice. I made it already. Really nice herb rice. It has like thyme and garlic and butter. So we're gonna plate it with that. So that's gonna be our finish when we plate it. But usually when we roast the chicken, when I roast a chicken on like a Sunday, we have food for the whole entire week. Because you can do so many things with the chicken. You can pick from it to make chicken salad. You can also make soup out of it. And when I make soup from that, the roasted chicken, I just put all the veggies in there, the carrots, celery, everything. Just dump it in the pot and add whatever else to make my soup. So you get all the collagen and everything from the chicken based on the juice that it made. So you dump that in your soup. It might be a little bit greasy. You can figure out how to skim it off. But that gives your soup such great flavor. It's amazing. All right, so once we do that, we are going to plate our rice. And I'm using a heart-shaped bowl. There it is. I mean, it's after Valentine's, but who cares? All right, so we're using a heart-shaped bowl for this. This is gonna be easy. And I will show you how we're gonna do that. And again, remember your chicken, if it's 4-pound chicken, depends. You put it in for an hour and a half max. I mean, you can't overdo it because all this stuff is saturated in there. The chicken is gonna be well done. It's always gonna be juicy, so you don't need to worry. And now how I'm gonna do the rice is, I am going to wet this bowl first before I put the rice in it. Reason being, when you dump the rice out, like so, and lift it up, you want it to keep the shape. And so when you wet the bowl or whatever cup you're using, it's easy for the rice to come out without falling apart, to keep the shape. So that's what I am going to do here. All right, so I wet that a little bit. Now, and just like I said before, you can always do another side dish. It doesn't necessarily have to be rice. I happen to make some rice already, just to make this a little bit easier. And of course, my culture, we eat rice like every day, basically. Well, we eat a lot of ground food like yams and other things that they don't grow here in America, of course. So moving here 20 years ago was really, really difficult in terms of fitting in the food from my diet and all that. So it was very, very challenging. But I adapted so well. So here's the rice. Make sure you press it down a lot. And then I put it like so. And look at that heart-shaped rice. Looks like it's falling apart, but it's okay. It will stay. All right. And so I'm gonna do another one actually before I get the chicken out of the oven. So we'll do two. Now when I cook at home, I always make a lot of food because growing up in a household with so many of my family members, it's, you know, we always cook a lot of food. That's one thing, you never come to our house and you're, you know, leave hungry. And my great grandmother, she was like the best cook in the community. I always talk about her. She lived to be 99, close to 99 and a half. She would always be the last person to eat. And she's always giving people doggy bags, things to take home. So I got that from her. Look how beautiful that is. So beautiful. So beautiful. All right, we'll put that away. And then now I have one that I made earlier. And wait until you see this. This one will go in here. Okay. Look how beautiful that is. How beautiful that is. And here we have our thyme. I'll just take that off for a second. Okay. Look at that. You don't even have to cut it. You can just use the fork and the knife and separate it. That's how nice and juicy and tender it is. It's very, very tender. Okay. Now, I don't get too fancy with it. My fiance likes the breast. I don't like it that much. From when I was growing up, I actually reminded my mom the other day that when she used to put breast on my plate, I would swap it out with my brothers for their legs or thighs or something else, or the back part of the meat, the back part of the chicken. Yeah, like I said, don't get too fancy with it. We're gonna make that right there. And then, so at home when I make this dish, let's just get some of the bones off. When I make this dish at home, I put on the side, whether it's spinach, sauteed spinach, or we do sauteed spinach or asparagus, or even a salad. Instead of the rice, we just add the chicken with the salad, and it's comes out really, really nice. So you don't have to worry too much about what side you put with that. And again, don't be too fancy. You just cut all the stringy parts off of it. Okay. Like, look how delicious that is. And if you don't finish the whole thing, you can just dump this whole chicken in a pot with water and just let it boil. Dump the chicken and the veggies and everything in there and just let it boil. Get some extra garlic. I would get some extra garlic and stuff and put it in there. And that would be so amazing. The flavor, I'm telling you, is like, oh, I wish you were here to smell what's happening here. Really, really, really good. The herbs, the spices, the celery, the thyme, the garlic, everything just blends in so well. They all blend in so, so well. Get a little bit of juice on there. Again, you can use, if you're a type of person who likes a lot of gravy and sauce and stuff like that, feel free to take some of this juice and make it into your own. But for us, we're not like that. We just go with the natural stuff. The regular juice is good. Okay, there we go. Look how amazing that looks. Look at that. Look how good. And this is just one of my simple meals. So it's pretty easy. You don't need a lot of, look how beautiful. The chicken is just so juicy. I'll cut right into it so you can see. Look at that. It's like falling apart. So good. Everything comes off the bones. So yeah, so it's pretty simple. If you're someone like me who is really busy always, this is something that you could do. Just put it in the oven, prep it ahead of time if you like. You put it in the oven and you can go watch TV for an hour and a half. You can go start cleaning or doing laundry or doing anything for an hour and a half, and then you come back and check it. It's not gonna burn, the water is not gonna evaporate. It's just gonna be so juicy and flavorful. That's it, it's just so good. All right, thank you guys so much for watching and be a part of my audience today. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to bring you guys a lot more of Donna's kitchen. I'm always doing amazing things in the kitchen, whether it's juicing or checking out my ginger shots or anything like that. So yeah, and I love cooking with herbs, so you're gonna get a lot of that as well. Thank you.